What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast bringing you the current events and financial news. Now, I want to play these two clips by Christine Lagarde. They are from last year, but it's always good to revisit some of these because it helps us understand, where we are in the stream of time. And listening to what they said earlier helps us put the pieces together of where we are now. So let's listen to what she has to say.
Based on their determination to effect payments in a digital way, in a cheaper way, in a faster way, in a more secure way. And I think that on all these accounts, a digital currency that falls under the ambit of a central bank is actually addressing all three issues that are on consumers' mind and on European minds. It's not a 100% rosy story, because it clearly, number one, it's difficult, and it's a time-consuming project. It's not going to happen overnight if and when it is decided. Number two, if it has great benefits of being cheaper, faster, more secure, and responding to consumers' preferences, it also has its downside. And clearly, we need to consider all the consequences that it would have, depending on the way it is tailored, depending on the way it associates our current, usual intermediaries, so that we don't disrupt the system. But I think that it is here to stay with us. It's not implemented yet. Decision has not been made yet. We are still in the review and consideration stage, but we've just launched a public consultation so that consumers and Europeans can actually express their preference.
And one thing is, I remember watching a interview with Cryptopolis and Becca Bradley, and Cryptopolis used to work for a city council, and he said that by the time they allowed the public to have an input about what they thought about it, the job was already done. It was just a matter of time of them putting it out there. So by her saying that, we're allowing for public input, that means they already have it ready to go.
And tell us whether they would be happy to use a digital euro just in the way they use a euro coin or a euro banknote, knowing that it is central bank money that is available and that they can rely upon.
You mentioned a consultation with the general public, and you always have been a great believer in communication, including with the general public. And you recently mentioned that with regard to the independence of the central bank, there is still accountability, and there is a need to explain.
And here's a second video.
Ranges from measurement of inflation and trends to price stability, including impact of climate change, including financial stability, including communication. I mean, there's a whole range of topics that all sort of are relevant to the proper delivery on our mandate, which is price stability. And we want to deep dive into all these topics just to make sure that we have explored every angle, every area that actually matter for price stability, how we define it, how we aim at it, and how we try to deliver upon it. Some people have asked me, why would you take climate change? Why is that relevant? Well, if we assume that, and I think it won't be debated, that the natural interest rate is relevant for us, then we have to appreciate why people save or invest, because it is going to have an impact on where the natural interest rate is located, which will itself have an impact on, where inflation is and what policy we should determine. Well, climate change, as has now been determined, is a major concern for people, and it's an uncertainty for many of them. If that leads them to save more, well, then clearly it has an impact on what we do. So I think the connection between all these topics, from climate change to communication to measurement of inflations, all of that is very closely interconnected and brings us to hopefully better understand what we need to do in order to serve the people of Europe with a stable.
And so we see that the digital euro is gonna come, and that the same can be said for all digital currencies. And one of the things is to get the people to buy in, to trust that they can use a digital coin, like she said, that it's secure, that they can manage it just as much as they can manage their cash. And that's an interesting point because shout out to Digital Assets Daily. He posted this video of Milton Friedman predicting cryptocurrencies in '99. And he mentions, little did he know, Joe Katz had already held patents 11 years prior. And that patent was one I showed in my video, in which he had like a user interface that can connect to different user interfaces across a spectrum. And listen to these words that Milton Friedman has to say.
But I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government. The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash, a method whereby on the internet you can transfer funds from A to B without A knowing B or B knowing A. The way in which I can take a $20 bill and hand it over to you, and there's no record of where it came from. So that I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces. But I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces.
And there you go. Now, he may, obviously, this digital space is a little different than what he probably imagined, but he was talking about it back then, and he had an idea of kind of where things were trending. And I think that we have to pay attention to the scenarios that may occur. And I'm telling you, I think that these digital currencies are almost set to go. And it's getting all the nations on board. And once everyone's on board, we'll see what awaits. But if you know what you own, then you're well positioned. Hope this episode has brought you some value. Like and subscribe. And know that when they start asking for public input, it means that they have already finished the job. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.